reading and writing is how to add and subtract. We can say that mathematics is the cradle of all creations, without which the world cannot move. National Mathematics Day is celebrated on December 22nd every year to commemorate the birth anniversary of India's famous mathematicians Srinivasa Iyengar Ramanujan. The main objective of this day is to raise awareness regarding the importance of mathematics in the development of the economy and welfare of society. The National Maths Day, which was started by former Prime Minister and economist Manmohan Singh on December 22, 2012, has gained significance among present-time mathematicians, students, and teachers. In commemoration of 133rd birth anniversary of great mathematician Sri Srinivasa Ramanujan, it gives me immense pleasure in welcome you all for this webinar on the topic an appetizer to engineering mathematics. On behalf of management and the department, I take much pleasure in welcoming resource person Dr. Dattatri Venugopal, Professor of Mathematics, Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. Welcome you, sir. I am very much elated to welcome our most respected Chief Executive Officer of our institution, Dr. K. Karnagaran. Welcome, sir. I am delighted to welcome faculty members and my warm welcome to all my dear students. Once again, I welcome you all. Happy National Mathematics Day to all. Without much delay, we'll turn over to Professor Narmada. Madam.
Thank you, Dr. K.P. Uma, Madam, HOD of Department of Mathematics and Science and Humanities. Now, let me introduce sterling personality of the day, Dr. Dattatri Venugopal. He is Professor of Mathematics in the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science at Sri Sathya Sai University, Karnataka. He has 22 years of teaching experience at university level. Formerly with Sri Chandrasekharendra Saraswati Vishwa Mahavidyalaya, he served many prestigious positions as the Controller of Examinations, the Director of Research, Publications and University Press, Dean of Faculty of Arts and Humanities, Professor and Head of Department of Mathematics and Department of Science and Humanities, Member of Board of Management, Planning and Monitoring Board, Internal Planning Committee, UGC Statistical Nodal Officer, Chief Editor of International and National Conference Proceedings. He is the recipient of prestigious CSIR Junior and Senior Research Fellowship and Best Teacher Award. He has interdisciplinary research interest with management, computers, and Sanskrit. He guided 21 MPhil and 10 PhD scholars. Doctoral committee member and evaluator for PhD and MPhil thesis in universities. Board of Studies member in various colleges and universities. He has given 30 talks on mathematics and 55 talks on spirituality. He has conducted many workshops on software-oriented mathematics teaching. He has published 6 books and numerous research articles in 52 peer-reviewed journals. He is editorial board member of International Journal of Applied Mathematics and Statistical Sciences, International Journal of Humanities and Social Sciences, and Asia Mathematica, and reviewer of International Journal of Advanced Intelligence Paradigms, International Journal of Computing Science and Mathematics, International Journal of Mathematics in Operational Research, and Asia Mathematica. Today, he is here with us to make engaging and enriching session ahead. On behalf of our college, we welcome you, sir. I request Professor Venugopal, sir, to take over the session.
Yes, madam, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Let me share my screen. I think we are going up to 3, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me share the screen. I hope you are seeing the presentation now. Can I proceed?
Yes, sir, you can proceed, sir.
Okay. Presentation seen. Right. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
This is Professor Venugopal, Professor of Mathematics in Department of Mathematics and Computer Science of Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence, Gulbarga. These institutes and 30 more schools are run by this trust free of cost. This education in these education institutions are free of cost. I am proud to be part of that. So let me get into the show. This is how I can be reached on WhatsApp. I have a YouTube channel. Talks are over there. Okay, and in case of doubts or further follow-ups, people can be in touch with me. So thanks to the organizers of Hindustan College of Engineering Technology for inviting me on National Mathematics Day to talk to young students. I gave the topic as an appetizer to engineering mathematics. So what's mathematics is about? What's engineering mathematics is about? I will not get into the syllabus. It is already there for your teachers to touch upon. You have multiple things in your syllabus, vector calculus, this, that, and Fourier analysis, Fourier series, Laplace transform. Everything will be there. I will touch the common thread in all this. What's engineering mathematics is all about. Why do you need to study it? Why do you need to concentrate on it? Why do you need to understand it? I have taken the contents from various engineering max books, web resources. I am responsible for the arrangement and the flow of my talk. So what some students feel, why don't you solve your own problems to your mathematics? You are asking me to solve your problems. It's not like that. This mathematics is sitting there to solve our problems, to solve the problems of the society, to solve real life problems. Okay. Why do you need mathematics to solve real life problems? How mathematics gets into that? How these x, y, z, gamma, omega, kappa, alpha, zeta, integration, differentiation, where these concepts are finding place in real life? I do not know. That's what the students say. Thing is, you do not directly see the equations in life, but you try to understand the mathematics through a concept called mathematical modeling. That's what engineering mathematics is about. I will highlight that. Request to all the students to have the mindset of a child. I think many are there, hundreds of students are there. Have the mindset of a child in learning anything. Have a clean slate mentality. That's what we call. That is, without prejudice. Without prejudice. Mathematics is tough. No. Keep it away. Okay? And it is difficult to learn. Keep it away. Just to have the mentality of a child, see the curiosity in the child's eyes. Like that, with the curiosity, if you see something, you will be able to perceive it fully, you will understand it fully. So that's my request at every lecture. What will be covered in this talk, brief talk for another 45 minutes or so, I will give an exposure to mathematics in general, that's engineering mathematics, to create some awareness and curiosity among students. So how this mathematics can be this much dear to us, like that. I would like to bring a mentality in students. My expectation, just listen without any prejudice, listen with a clear mind. Okay, then you will come to know. Then you will try to relate whatever I am telling with your syllabus. Okay, I am not going to teach any engineering mathematics now. That's the job of your teachers. I am to introduce engineering mathematics in such a way that it makes you curious to understand the concept. Mathematics is a language. And its language and its mathematical modeling is the language for engineering. What's this modeling? Have you seen that? We have seen the mathematical modeling even from school days. I will elaborate on that. But where this mathematics sleeps, that's what's the power of maths. I will give you certain things to think. I will show you certain slides so that you may think, oh, mathematics is in all this. Okay, yes, mathematics is in all this. I will show you certain slides thanks to American Mathematical Society clips. You believe it or not, there is math behind cutting cakes. Modeling strategies that yield for fair outcomes in situations involving human nature. A general cake cutting strategy decides where the cutter should slice a cake in order to maximize the fairness of choice. What are all the mathematics involved here? I'm not getting deep into that. I'm just showing you this. That where and all you can find mathematics, hitherto unseen. You could not have thought that mathematics is there. Probability algebra is there in the mathematics of cutting cakes and how to cut cakes in such a way to maximize choice, maximize the fairness of choice. Right. Then, the mathematics is sitting behind medical science, cardiology and heart attacks, to prevent, to treat, to understand heart attacks and heart defects. What is the mathematics that's there? Mathematical imaging, fluid dynamics, nonlinear dynamics theory, they are sitting there. That's in fact the blood flow is modeled in mathematically, so that see, engineering you have got medical engineering also. The engineers will have to find themselves everywhere. And if you have to be useful to the society, if your learning is to be useful to the society, you must understand where you really need that, where your engineering is really needed, where this mathematics is really needed. Everywhere, engineering cannot live without mathematics. And how it is sitting there, it's about mathematical imaging that's behind cardiology. Then, CD writing, the anti-skip technology, it uses some mathematics, error correcting codes, polynomial codes, error correcting codes, that errors may creep in. You might have seen in supermarkets, the barcoding, right? Whenever you purchase something, you go over there, they will just show that gun on the barcode, it will read the barcode. But if there is error in reading the barcode, there's a methodology to correct itself. Suppose I tell you there are 3 numbers whose addition is 8. 3 numbers whose addition is 8. Okay? And it is enough to have give only 2 numbers. The third number you already know. You cannot make mistake with the third number. So if I just say I will give you 3 numbers, that is one thing. If I say I will give you 3 numbers whose addition is 8, whose multiplication is this, if I say these two, then it is self-correcting. Even if you hear the numbers wrongly, the addition is one number, multiplication is one number, 3 numbers, you can make out the error in that. So, certain error codes can be self-correcting. Self-correcting codes can be created. So, in writing skip-proof portable CD players and making scratched CDs playable, you must be wondering, certain scratched CDs still play. How do they play? There is mathematics sitting behind it. Then digital animation, mathematics is there. The concept used there is geometrical modeling, geometric computing. Okay? And you must have seen the Spider-Man and all that. Mathematics is very much behind digital animation. Find out what's it. Digital face recognition, nowadays it's there everywhere. Even if you look at the smartphone, it unlocks with your face. Okay. And there are even if you just open the camera in your this thing, it identifies where are the faces in the camera, it identifies. So digital face recognition is an algorithm. Is based on an algorithm. It's there. Okay? Mathematics is there. Mathematics is behind image compression. That's a concept called wavelets. Waves are waves, big wavelets are small waves. Okay. So it's like Fourier analysis. So you will learn a concept called Fourier analysis. This is a slight advanced version of wavelets. Curvelets are there, lots more. And they give an algorithm to effectively compress the image and transport it and decompress it so that the resolution is not lost. Okay. And in some cases, you will be receiving certain images with errors. How to fix the errors and how to get the real image, that is a challenge of mathematics. Mathematics is there. Mathematics is there behind immunology. Differential equations are there. Stability analysis is there. Bifurcation analysis is there. You will learn this, come to know about these concepts a bit later when you do engineering. But mathematics is very much there behind this immunology. Then to study sands, it is used. It's a geophysical modeling. Speeding up of internet, Max is very much there. Yeah, I'm just showing it to you. The entire presentation won't be like this. I have something to show you. And the statistics in sports is there. You say Tendulkar has done better than such and such person. How do you compare statistics? Statistics and the mathematical analysis help you to understand sports, the statistics in sports. Okay. Then in stopping and preventing fires also, the large scale computational models are used. Max is sitting there. Max is invariably behind supercomputing. Max is behind the DNA. That's computational bioinformatics is there. It tells about the DNA structure. Mathematics is very much sitting there. Okay. Then just see, there is mathematics in aerospace. There is mathematics in architecture. There's mathematics in music. Yes, music. The mathematics in nature. Mathematics in sports. Mathematics in navigation. All are there. There's a concept called mathematical modeling. You know about models. If you want to know a building, Taj Mahal, there's a model. A Taj Mahal model will be there. You look at the model, you understand the entire structure. Right. So, this mathematical modeling, so what do they do? You look at a real life situation. Okay. Your engineers, scientists, all exist there to handle real life problems only. That's a real life problem. What do? You recognize the mathematics in that. I will give you some examples. You recognize the mathematics in that and transfer it into appropriate mathematical shape, solve it mathematically, and the solution you get back to the real life and give it to the person who gave you the problem. This is called the mathematical modeling. This is how it is done. Take a real world problem, define the questions of interest, identify variables, identify the principles, then get into a mathematical model, select appropriate mathematical tools to solve it, then get back to the real world problem to give them the solution. There are various types of models other than mathematical, like conic, schematic, descriptive, prescriptive, predictive, normatic, static, dynamic, analytic, simulative, deterministic, stochastic, probabilistic, economic, biological, and we will talk about mathematical models. Since it's National Mathematics Day, we will choose to talk about mathematical models. Mathematical models are algorithmic and logical. Everything is based on algorithm. Mathematical models are abstract and other models are concrete. Mathematical models are abstract, conceptual models. Right. But you may think why this mathematics is coming. Everything is done through computer. Okay. I want to do something, I want to recognize face, everything is done through computer. Computer, you go and sit before it, it does everything. Why should I know mathematics? Problem is, you cannot completely depend on, however good the computation skills may be, you cannot completely depend on what the computer says, because it is based on an algorithm. If algorithm is wrong, the output is wrong. Then how do you validate it? How do you confirm that the computer program gives you correct results? validate it with the benchmark of mathematical model. You model it mathematically, analyze it, then the whole world accepts that when you establish something mathematically, the world accepts your model, world accepts your algorithm. That is the beauty of mathematical modeling. I will start with a very, very simple example. Okay, a play example that you studied during school days. Even school days, you studied mathematical modeling. How? Just have a look at this small problem. Read it. Children, students, take time to read it. Hope you are observing through phone or something. Just to go through the first para. Yeah. The length and width of a rectangle together measure 130 yards. That is, if you add the length and width of a rectangle, it gives 130. And the difference is 8. The difference between the length and breadth is 8. What is the area of the rectangle? You must have seen this in schools. Must have solved it also. Okay. There are two ways of solving this. First method requires a linear equation with one variable. You convert it into a one variable equation. Second method requires a system of two equations of two variables. How do we do that? Let's see. This is what I call modeling. This problem is a problem. Okay, it's a life problem. I want to know the area of a rectangle given some data. What do? I convert this into x equation, addition. Then I solve it mathematically and get the solution in terms of the original length and breadth. It is very easy. Let the length of the rectangle equal x. Length of the rectangle is x. Let the width of the rectangle be x plus 8 because 8 is the difference. Now, together they measure 130. So, length and breadth added together gives 130. So, x plus 8 is 130. That is 2x is 122, x is 61 and y is 69. So, x is 61. What did you do? You converted that problem into an equation 2x equal to 122 and you solved that. You got x and y. What is x length? What is y breadth? So, you interpret it again in terms of the original problem, then get the answer as 4209. This is one small miniature modeling. Okay. Then, you get into another method of solving this. Let x be the length and y be the width. Okay. Then, x plus y is 130, x minus y is 8. And you know how to solve it. Okay. Adding them, multiplying them, and you know how to solve two equations of two variables. You are solving them mathematically. What did you do? The problem is converted into simultaneous equations of two variables, two equations of two variables. The problem is converted into two equations of two variables. You are solving it in terms of x and y, and you are rephrasing x and y in terms of the original problem, length and breadth. So, this is a very, very elementary example how a situation can be designed mathematically, solved mathematically and getting answer. It is okay. Next, have a look at these diagrams. Your natural phenomena, certain natural phenomena can be described in terms of differential equations. What are they? Look at the first diagram. You have a falling stone. You have a falling stone. A stone falls from the top. What is the force? What's that force that pulls that stone? It's gravity. So, because of gravity, the stone falls. That is, acceleration is gravity. Gravity is the acceleration there. That forces sends the stone towards the earth, towards the floor. Okay. What is acceleration? You must have studied in schools. If y is displacement, y dash is velocity and y double dash is acceleration, double derivative is acceleration. Then y double dash equal to g is the differential equation of a falling body. So, a real life mechanical situation, engineering situation can be converted into an appropriate differential equation. So, you will learn in engineering mathematics to solve differential equation. Straight away, our maths teacher will give a differential equation. Y double dash plus y equal to x plus y, something they will give. And you will be trying to solve it. You must be wondering why, where this is useful. You understand any differential equation comes from a physical situation, comes from a life situation. For a parachutist, the differential equation is mv dash equal to mg minus bv square. And to measure the outflow of water, outflowing water, the differential equation is given over there. Few more examples. For springs, to study the displacement of springs, that's a differential equation my dash plus ky equal to 0. The beats of a vibrating system, a musical system or something, that's a differential equation. To study the current flow in a circuit can be converted into a differential equation. Okay, then you have a circuit, convert that into a differential equation, solve the differential equation using the methods of solving a differential equation. A max guy can do it faster. Then the solution of the differential equation, we will give the current in the circuit. You get back to the original system. Okay. Then you can study the deformation of beams. I will not get deep into that. Just understand that every mechanical model, mechanical thing will have a differential equation associated with it. Okay. That is the modeling. The pendulum is there and it is converted into a differential equation. All these I am taken from Advanced Engineering Mathematics by Rizk, a book that every engineering mathematics student must read. You will have textbooks, don't worry, you will have textbooks written by certain authors. You will have exam-oriented textbooks. But if you want to understand the power of mathematics that is useful in engineering, you must read this Advanced Engineering Mathematics by Rizk. It's must. Next, I will tell about matrices. Matrices are your dear friends. In schools, the thing that they study with passion is matrix. Matrices are easy, right? The matrices are also a model. I repeatedly tell you, your engineering mathematics is nothing about modeling, mathematical modeling. You model a real life situation using a mathematical system. So, how matrices are useful in modeling? We will understand with a very simple example. Okay? But before that, let me tell you where these matrices find a place. In scientific computing laboratories, they need matrix calculus. The maximum principle uses matrices. Control theory in engineering involves spectral analysis of matrices. DFT, the discrete Fourier transform, you will come to know about DFT and FFT, fast Fourier transform, discrete Fourier transform. This discrete Fourier transform makes use of a certain class of matrices called Topliss matrices. Statistics is based on correlation matrices. Symmetric matrices appear in continuum mechanics. Just to put it in your ears that a matrix is in certain places. Markov processes need stochastic matrices. Graphs, you will learn about the graphs, dots and lines. They are usually represented as matrices. And quantum chemistry and quantum mechanics make use of matrices. So, matrices is everywhere. How to model it? How is it used in a modeling a situation? Again, I will go to your school life example. Let's say we want to find the final grades for 3 girls. We know that their averages for tests, projects, homework and quizzes. I know their marks there. And I know the ratio of marks to be given. 40% of marks grade belongs to tests, 15% to projects, 25% to homework and 20% to quizzes. So, whatever you occur, it must be split like this. How do we do that? Just have a look at it. There are 3 students, Selvi, Margaret and Fatima, and I have the marks in test, project, homework, quizzes. You see that this is a 3 cross 4 matrix. Then, the weight for test, project, homework and quizzes is given as a column matrix. Okay. uh, 4 cross 1 matrix, 4 rows and 1 column, then how do you calculate the grade is, see, the test has 92, but only 40% counted. Project LV got only 100, but only 15% counted. Okay, and 89, out of 89 only 25% counted, and out of 80 only 20% counted. Like that you count and find out the grade. What do? You take that 3 cross 4 matrix, multiply it with 4 cross 1 matrix, and you get a matrix 3 cross 1 matrix that gives the grade of 3 students one by one. Okay. Okay. Now this matrix modeling and matrix multiplication helps you to give the grade for the problem. Okay. This is a simple application. Then I will tell you about where this algebra, you will learn something about groups. Somebody will tell you about semi-groups. Okay. In computer science engineering, students will learn about semi-groups to understand about automata theory. This algebraic modeling, I call it algebraic modeling. I'll tell you how. See, one example I am taking. Very simple example. Try to understand it. It is taken from a book called Applied Abstract Algebra by Liddell and Pilz, a very good book, which tells about how this algebra, simple algebra equation concept can help you to understand maybe how a lift operates, how the circuit, switching circuit for a elevator, lift can be drawn. Now let us take a simple example. You know, these printers, computer, they won't print if paper is not there. Okay? It will ask you to insert paper. It's about sensor. It's about sensors. When the sensor senses that the paper is not there, it will not allow the printer to print. It won't print on the drum. Okay? Let us understand this through a picture. This is the picture. You have the paper strip. This is a very old model, right? This a lamp is there and the photocell is there, and the paper is a barrier between the lamp and the photocell. And if the paper is not there, the lamp will be sensed by the photocell. It will switch off a motor. That is the concept. Okay. Then how do you put this? You give some numbers now. I will call the brightness value as A and the minimum brightness value as B. Okay. Okay. There, lamp should be on, right? If a lamp is not with the dimness, very dim, then the printer won't work. You need to replace the lamp. Okay. Then how do you put it? You call this values of A, various values of A. A1 is 1 if brightness is greater than A, A1 is 0 if brightness is less than A, A2 is 1 if brightness is greater than B, A2 is 0 if brightness less than B, A3 is 1 if paper strip is broken, it is not there, A3 is 0 if paper strip is unbroken. Okay. Let's have these variables and let's go for a function, that a function of these three. If the motor operates, P1 is 1. If P1 is 0, motor is switched off. Okay. Like that, there are other functions, P2. P2 is 1 when warning lamp operates. P2 is 0 when warning lamp does not operate. So, we will put it as a truth table. You must have studied truth table in +2. Yeah, I am putting it as a truth table. Two situations do not arise, I am cancelling them. And the other two situations, I am writing out the function. And these functions are written as a polynomial expression. P1, P1 is the function for the motor, and P2 is the function for operating lamp. Okay. Then P1 is put as x2, x3 dash, and P2 is put as x1, x1 dash. And ask your teacher, this x1, x1 dash x2 and x2 dash x3, it can be written as a switching circuit. Switching circuit. You must have seen these gates, AND gate, OR gate. Okay, I am using AND gates only. So with using simple gate diagram, the switching circuit for that printer which should not print if paper is not there. So this is another simple example of how the polynomial expressions can help to form the switching circuits for certain things. This book has a variety of such examples. What's that book? Applied Abstract Algebra by Liddell Pills. Then, before concluding, I will take some 10 to 15 minutes on a concept called automata theory. So, before that, let me summarize what I was trying to tell you. Engineering mathematics will have different topics. Okay? In the first year, maybe you have calculus. Calculus you will have, some vector analysis you will have. You will learn the basics. You will learn the basics. See, when you want to learn a language, you should know the basics. You should know the alphabet. You should know certain basic letters. How to say good morning, how to say welcome, how to say excuse me, how to say please. Like that you will learn certain basic things. You will know how to construct a sentence. Then you will construct a sentence. So in the first year of your engineering mathematics, maybe first semester or something, you will come to know about the basics. You will learn only about the basics. Okay? They will tell you whatever is needed, matrices, eigenvalues, eigenvectors, all that they will say. But where do you use this immediately? It depends. It depends which branch of engineering you study. For example, this eigenvalues and eigenvectors are very heavily useful in certain branches of engineering. Okay? And the matrices are useful, as I told you, in various things. Even in coding, matrices are useful. Then you will learn about transforms. You will learn about Fourier transform, Laplace transform, integral transforms. Then Fourier analysis you may learn. You will learn about integration and differentiation. You will learn about how to solve differential equation. Then you understand differential equations have really come out of a real world situation only. So I am solving a real world situation. Okay, you saw there for a freely falling body, the differential equation is y double dash equal to g. So if you say y double dash equal to g, the g, it summarizes the property of the falling body. Okay. So if you solve this differential equation y double dash equal to g, you will get, if you integrate once, you will get y equal to gt. If you integrate twice, you will get half gt square. That is the well-known equation for displacement. Okay. So when you learn differential equation, understand that the differential equations represent concepts from the engineering problems only, and you are really solving an engineering problem. That is one. You will learn about difference equations. Difference equations are similar to differential equations which are useful in electronics, which are useful in signals and systems. Okay. And the transforms are useful in signals and systems. Now, I will touch upon a concept called automata theory, which is there for computer science engineering students as elective. It is very easy. It is actually very easy. If you do it, learn it through a software. I will tell about this automaton theory. It is modeling of a computer. It is modeling a computer. Computers are used everywhere, right? Computers are everywhere. For example, in processing numbers, data, images, and controlling the operations of various devices, it's there. Can computers really, can it do anything and everything? No. What they can do, what they cannot do. In essence, what's computation? All these questions will be there in the minds of students who learn about computers. To study the limitations of computers, you study a model. And the best model that's known in the 20th century is Turing machine, that was invented by Alan Turing. This is a simple device that can perform any task by a modern computer. Before getting into Turing machine, a simple device called finite automata can be studied, which can model a large number of systems that's in practice. Which are finite automata? You are seeing them every day. For example, ATM machine. ATM machine is a finite automaton. It's a finite automaton. Why? It's a finite state automata. To be precise, it has various states. For example, you go to ATM machine, it's an idle state. It will be in idle state. You go over there and insert your ATM card, it goes to some other state of receiving, checking your card. It checks your card. Then it goes to another state of asking the PIN. You enter the PIN. If it's correct, it goes to one state. If it is not correct, it goes to another state of asking you to type it correctly. Okay. So when you type it correctly, then it goes to another stage of giving money. Then it gives money. Then it goes to menu state. It waits there. Then if you choose exit, it goes out. It is a finite state machine. The other examples of finite state machine, the platform ticket vending machine. Might have seen in advanced modern railway stations. You put a 10 rupee coin, you will immediately get a, what is this, yeah, platform ticket. And the weighing machine, you go over there, put a 1 rupee coin, it will tell you your weight. It's a finite automaton. Realize that there is mathematics sitting there. Finite automaton. Okay. And the vending machine, which gives you coffee, tea, Coca-Cola, milk, whatever you like. You put there 5 rupees, press an appropriate button, put a tumbler over there, a cup over there. It will give you coffee, whatever you want, it will give. It is a finite state machine. How these finite state machines are studied? What is there inside? How do they work? How to understand how do they work? Okay, I will tell you. I think if I have time, I will illustrate that software also. Okay, this is called theory of computation. How does a computer work? How to model a computer? The most basic model of a computer is a finite automaton, I told you. So any computer program is, any computer output, any machine is a finite state machine. It works with finitely many capacity. The automaton has all essential features of a computer. It has an input state, it gives a output, it has a temporary storage, and you can run and see how these things work. See, essentially, these these machines, ATM machine, coffee vending machine, they work based on strings, whether they accept a string or not. For example, if you enter your PIN wrongly 3 consecutive times, your card will be blocked. Okay. Then it says if you enter correct PIN, that's taken as 1. If you enter wrong PIN, that's taken as 0. So if 3 consecutive zeros come, then the card is blocked. That means it doesn't accept it. If a string of 0, 0, 0 comes over there, it will reject the card. It will reject the card. So these machines depend on strings. Strings. How? These vending machines, they depend on strings. The input to our computers is always strings. We give only strings as inputs to computers. That's what you know. Okay. Then we are concerned with the acceptance or non-acceptance of strings. We are very much interested in knowing whether a string is accepted or not. For example, you will see, you will be asked to, if you want to change a password somewhere, it will ask, enter the password, then confirm the new password, enter the new password, confirm the new password. So that sequence should be all right. New password should match with the, what is this, second entered password. Okay? Both should match. So a sequence of strings is very much applicable to computers. Computers work based on strings. Okay? So we will model a system that will tell whether to accept a string or don't accept a string. Let me illustrate with one example. And this is the mathematics behind the finite state machine. Every finite state machine, for example, your ATM machine, vending machine, platform vending machine, anything, has a monoid associated with it. You will soon learn, you must have learned about groups. Okay? Now you will learn about semi-groups and monoids. And monoids you will learn. They will tell you lightly about this. And you please understand, any finite state machine has a monoid associated with it. Okay? And for every monoid, there a finite state machine can be formed. Just keep it in mind. Now let us see how these arithmetic expressions are accepted or rejected by, some of you must have done some programming, C language programming. Okay? And it will accept only valid strings. What are valid strings? What are valid strings? Valid strings are, you should open up with a parenthesis. If it opens up the parenthesis, you should end with the parenthesis. And there should be x, y up and connected with the operators, plus, minus, division. Operators must be there, variables must be there. Then it is an arithmetic expression. For example, x plus y within brackets is an arithmetic expression. If you open up a bracket, x plus y, if you don't close a bracket, it is not a valid arithmetic expression. How is it checked in a monoid? This is how, this is called a finite state automaton diagram. This is called an automata, finite automata simply. Just look at it. There is a state Q0. So this is how I am modeling the acceptance or rejection of a arithmetic expression. This is about, it's a valid integer. This is about valid integer. Just have a look at it. A valid integer should start with, is either 0, valid integer is either 0, or it can start with a sign, plus sign or minus sign. It need not start with a sign. And if it starts with a sign, after that numbers cannot come. 0, 1, 2, 3 cannot come. 0 cannot come, right? After a plus 0, 1 come. After a minus 0, 1 come, right? Then after plus or minus, any number can come 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 9. And after that, any number from 0 to 9 can come. For example, 0 is a valid integer. 0 is a valid integer. Then plus 1 is a valid integer, valid number. Minus 55 is a valid number. Minus 532 is a valid number. Minus 012 is an invalid number. After a sign, 0 cannot come. So just have a look at it. Q0 is known, this is the model of a computer that accepts or rejects numbers. So this is Q0. Okay, this is the starting point. If 0 is given as input, it accepts. A double circle says the string is accepted. So 0 is accepted as a number. Then lambda means empty. There can be sign, there need not be sign, there need be sign. But if sign is there, after that 0 should not come. If it comes, it goes to a reject state Q5, single circle. Then it waits in Q2. If 1 comes, 2 comes, 3 comes, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9 comes, it is accepted. And after that 1, 2, anything can come. Okay. After 4, 0 can come. After 6, 1 can come. So a valid number is minus 320 is a valid number. Minus 450 is a valid number, like that. So this model tells you how the numbers are identified. See, numbers are basically string, you understand. The number is a string, and this model tells you how to write a program to accept a number, whether it begins with a sign or does not begin with a sign. You must have seen flowcharts. Flowcharts guide you about programming. These are diagrams, flow diagrams that help you understand, right? Then look at this diagram. See, this flow diagram, this is about a finite state machine. What's that machine? This is my imaginary machine. This finite state machine accepts coins for 5 rupees. Coins for 5 rupees. That is, this I have to design a model, design a machine, devise a machine, design a model, you should accept either 5 rupee coin given as whole, or you should accept 2 rupee coin, 2 rupee coin, 1 rupee coin, it adds to 5 in any order. Okay. So there can be 3 1 rupee coins and 1 2 rupee coin. There can be 2 2 rupee coins and 1 1 rupee coin. Various combinations are there, you understand? There can be 2 2 rupee coins and 1 1 rupee coin. And all 1 rupee coin, 5 1 rupee coins can be there. A single 5 rupee coin can be there. And how to model a machine that will accept these combinations adding to 5. And if the combination is less than 5 or greater than 5, the machine should reject. Okay. Just have a look at it. This is the beginning point. This is modeling. That's what this is a modeling of a computer, a finite state machine that is expected to accept coins adding up to 5 rupees. This is the beginning, T naught. See here, it's a beginning T naught, and it will be remaining at T naught till no input. When there is a input of 5 rupee coin, it goes to the acceptance state T5, double circle. All others are reject state, acceptance state. If 2 comes, watch here, T naught from state it goes to T2. Then if after T2 what should be there? After T2 it can accept either 2 or 1s or 3 1s. So if 2 is there, it will move to, the machine will move to T4 state. After T4 state, only 1 is accepted. If 1 is accepted, it will go to the acceptance state. After, so if 2 is input, after that, if another 2 is there, it will add up to 6 rupees, it will go to eject state. It will go to eject state. So if the total exceeds 5 or total is less than 5, it will go to eject state. Right? Now, have a look one more. If T naught beginning point, I give you 1 rupee coin, T1, it goes to T1. Then I give you one more T1, it goes to T2 state. It goes to T2 state. Watch here, T2 state. Then after T2, I am giving one more coin, it goes to T3 state. After that, I give one more coin, it goes to T4 state. After that, I give one more coin, it goes to T5 state. Or after T naught, a 1 rupee coin, I can give a 2 rupee coin, it will go to T3 state. Again, if I give a 2 rupee coin, it will go to T5 state. So, the following strings are acceptable. What strings? A single 5, 1 1 1 1 1 5 times, or 2 2 1, or 1 2 2, or 1 1 1 2, or 1 2 1 1. So, any combination of 1 2 1, 1 2 5 that adds up to 5 is accepted. So, before writing a program, before thinking of a machine that will do this, you can devise this model. This model is called automaton that gives you what? That gives you an understanding how many combinations will be there, how that machine is expected to work. See, you are designing a robot. You must show how robot will do everything, right? That's what they are doing. But you must tell the robot what should be done. What the robot should do. Suppose a robot is walking. Suppose somebody comes in front of the robot. If the robot is not instructed, it will go and clash with that fellow. If you give some add one instruction to the robot that if a person comes across, you take side. If you give that instruction, it will take side. Okay, then it will do that. See, if it is like without algorithm, I will since children are there, I will tell a small story. There was a guru. That's the importance of understanding. I am telling. There was a one guru was there. There were many disciples, and the guru used to go in bullock cart those days. These disciples will follow them, running. They will run behind the cart. Disciples were not that bright. Okay. Then, while going, the belongings started falling from the bullock cart. And the disciples will not put it back. Guru got up and told, no. If something falls out of the bullock cart, you must put it back. Okay, they agreed. Then, there was, the bullshit was there. The bulls dropped shits. The disciples picked up those shits and put it back to the bullock cart. No, Guru said, no, it should not be there. Then disciples asked, you make a list, sir. Tell us whichever falls out of the cart, we must put it back. Then Guru gave a big list. Pillow, blanket, this vessel, pen, everything he wrote and gave. Okay. Then they had that list in hand. When something falls out of the cart, they will put it back. Suddenly, in one turn, Guru himself fall out of the cart. He rolled to a corner into a ditch. These fellows checked the list like robo. They checked the list whether Guru is there on the list or not. Guru is not there in the list. They just went away. Okay? Why I am telling, a robo can do anything, but unless you design it properly, a computer can do anything, but unless you design it properly, before understanding beforehand what it's supposed to do, then it may work erroneously. Unless you anticipate all the combinations with which a model is supposed to work, it will work erroneously because it is discrete only. It cannot think. The machine cannot think. The model cannot think. So, you must model it, model the situation to understand all possible combinations. Okay. Suppose I tell the machine, accept 5 rupee coin, then it will accept only 5 rupee coin. If I give change 2 rupee, 1 rupee, it won't accept. Then you tell him, okay sir, accept change also. 2 rupee, 1 rupee. Then if I give first 1 rupee, then a 2 rupee, then a 2 rupee, the machine will hesitate whether to accept or not. Boss has not told me. Boss told me only 2 rupee coin and 1 rupee coin. But this fellow is giving 1 rupee coin, 2 rupee coin, 2 rupee coin, whether should accept it or not. See, it's funny, but you understand, unless you model it correctly, the real life situation may not give you correct answers. Where this automata is useful in computer? You know, compiler, you must have seen compilers. You learn C language, C++, that's compiler. You must have seen the compiler. Compiler is the software which converts a program written in high level language to low level language. That's compiler. So, it's supposed to recognize strings, whether a program is written rightly. That's whether the sequence is correct, like that. So, this if you want to learn computer design, compiler design, you will have to learn about automata theory. You will have to learn about finite automata. But whatever I was describing now, this is an automata. This diagram is called the automata. Since finite states are there, finite automata. So, to learn compiler design, that CSE students will be learning, to learn compiler design, compiler design principles provide in-depth view of translation and the optimization process. To learn this compiler design, you must learn automata theory. Okay. Thank you. I am concluding here. The essence I wanted to tell you is this. Engineering mathematics is all about what? Is all about mathematical modeling, essentially. So, if you understand the concept of mathematical modeling, if you understand that the engineering mathematics is all about modeling, you will show keen interest in learning about mathematical modeling. So, that's why this mathematics is taught to engineering students to understand the mathematics. So, a real life situation will be converted into a mathematical model. To solve it mathematically, you should know the mathematical methods. You solve it mathematically, then get back to the real life situation. So, take some efforts to understand engineering mathematics in the view that it is applied elsewhere in your life. It is applied elsewhere in solving real life problems. And I hope students could get an idea. Thank you. Thank you, organizers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Organizer can take over. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I call upon Mrs. Nitya for the vote of thanks.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. The root of all goodness lie in the soil of appreciation for goodness. As per the saying on behalf of Hindustan College of Engineering and Technology, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly and indirectly contributed this webinar. At the outset, I thank our resource person, Dr. Totari Venugopal sir, sparing his valuable time with us. We are all really enlightened with your knowledge and presence. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. Next, whole Hotly, I extended my gratitude to all the meticulous delegates who blessed us with your presence and took out valuable time out of your busy schedule. As I wish to express my gratitude to our management, CEO Sir, Dr. Karnagaran Sir, and Head of the Department of Dr. KP Uma Ma'am for her encouragement and support. I extended my special thanks to organizing committee members, Associate Professor Namata Ma'am, Arun Sir, for making this event successful with your contribution. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. I once again thank each and every participants of the day. Thank you all. Thank you, students.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I think we are closing. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.